National security. Let's look at a few things here. First off, who's on TikTok? Like who's really on TikTok? Now you can say everybody, but most people who actually have a salary or a real income, adults, they're not on TikTok the same way as it's mostly it's a younger platform. I think that's the best way I can put it, right? And to be candid, I'm not really on TikTok. I never really vibed with it. But I own an e-commerce store. I do business online. And in doing business online, I see the intricacies of how Amazon works, how Facebook, Instagram, Meta, the Instagram shop works, the Facebook shop works, even the YouTube shop works. And it makes being able to deliver, own, run a business more accessible than it ever has in any time in history. Like case in point, I'm in Helsinki, Finland. Like I'm sitting in the middle of it's the only quiet place in my house. I'm sitting in a sauna that's not turned on, but I just found a little quiet room in here so I could talk to y'all. But my business runs in America. I'm American. I'm American citizenship. I couldn't have done that, without a lot of connections and capital. Even 10, 15 years ago, like it would have been impossible. But what social media has made possible is that we sell all over the world. We share our message all over the world. Now we predominantly use YouTube and Instagram, but I only pay for online advertisement right now on Amazon because for me, that's the store. People go there to shop. So we advertise where people shop. But we can pay for advertisement. I've done it before on Meta, Instagram, Facebook, and it just felt a little cringe to me all the time because it's like we're trying to sell to someone who's here to be social, not to buy. But let's stay on topic. TikTok. I have watched TikTok strategically grow and do things differently in a way that is just completely changing the landscape of what social media is, but more importantly, what e-commerce is. So if you look at what they did for social media, there's two buckets here, right? So for social media, for the longest, you had to build up your reputation. You had to gain followers, like you still have to do here on YouTube. You have to have X amount of followers, X amount of watch hours, X amount of engagement before we'll unlock different things that you have access to. And to a point, like on Instagram, if somebody has 500 followers, you're probably not listening to what they have to say. TikTok changed all that with the simple nuance of saying, hey, everyone can have a voice. So what TikTok did is saying, if you have no followers, but you make some content that the algorithm likes, we're going to push it really hard, right? That cut the legs for everyone who basically built up a reputation or a status on the other platforms. And it opened the door for any Joe Schmo in the world to say, I can be successful. Anybody can go viral. That scares people who are established. You hear the age old adage, the rich get rich, the poor get poor. Well, when the rich are rich, they want to stay there. When you're on top, you want to stay on top, of course. America is no different, you know. Um, they, you want to stay on top. But what you don't know, if you don't deal in TikTok financially, then you will buy the rhetoric that, oh, we're locking this down because of national security. That's not the case. If that was the case, you would shut it down, you would make it illegal, and that would be that. But the case is, no, you need to open this up for someone else to buy it so that they can take advantage of this lucrative platform that you've created. Right? Um, Look at the NBA, right? And look at the NFL. We had two organizations, the Washington Commanders and LA Clippers. Their ownership was found out to move in a way that society didn't deem ethical, and the collective pushed the ownership away from it, but also said these are established, lucrative organizations. Why on earth Will we just let that go away? We're going to bring other people in to buy it and keep the money going because it helps the entire system of the NBA, of the NFL. We can't lose a team. That makes no sense. But we need to just get that money in the right hands, right people profiting off. So we can understand how the money goes, where it goes. Well, if you look at what TikTok did strategically and brilliantly, one, in making it so that anybody could go viral, it didn't matter about your status, but two, that anybody could sell on a TikTok shop. Anybody could be an affiliate for someone trying to offer products. For instance, I put my products up there. Anybody with no following whatsoever can go on there and say, I like that product. I'm going to talk about that product, and they can earn a commission and never even have to talk to me. Now, this exists on other social media platforms, but not to the same magnitude of what TikTok was doing. Plus, because they made it so anybody could go, you can come, you're fine. Plus, because they made it so that anybody could go viral on there easily, it made it there was so much more attention there. They did the social aspect first. So a lot of these platforms do the e-commerce part and then try to socialize it. They socialized the heck out of their platform and then brought the e-commerce in. And you could tell that there's a play if you look at how they built the TikTok shop and everything else. It was done in a very strategic, mindful manner to leverage the greatest currency we have in today's society, which is attention. Let me get all of the attention. Let me make people go. Let me make it even so that the content stands above everybody else. Like you think how many people who can create a great video, but it never goes anywhere. It's like the person who can sing really well or a great artist that you've never heard. They're in some barn in the back of the woods somewhere, and nobody ever gets to hear their music because there wasn't a way for them to get exposure. Well, TikTok was giving everyone that type of exposure because the algorithm was content focused, not creator focused, not status focused, not this is what you've done before. We're going to stick with the tried and true proof. It's no, what content really resonates, and we're going to push our algorithm towards that. And then we're going to get billions of people on here who love that aspect of it, the authenticity of it, the fact that content stands out above everything else. And now that we've gotten people onto this flow of authenticity, now I'm saying all this, it sounds like I'm preaching for TikTok. Let me be candid. I'm not even on TikTok like that. It never really vibes with me. I do believe the format of short form content as such really does affect the way that we consume our attention spans. It feeds into, diagnoses such as like ADHD, but it feeds into dopamine hits, instant gratification, not having sustainable, long winded, thoughtful interactions with stuff. It just gives you quick hits of I can switch from one thing to another and get satisfied off of that. Right? Just a dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit. Working in technology, I study this stuff religiously. So if I gamify it, if I add other aspects to it, it's about what the incentive of the user, what they're achieving. But when we talk about the ban, let's keep it 100. Like, how is this like? It's not about national security. It's about money. It's about finance. It's about the fact that the way they are doing TikTok Shop, it has to hurt what's going on Amazon. It has to hurt what's going on Meta and all of these other platforms where we spend money. You guys remember the hashtag? I don't know if it's still used widely, but it was TikTok made me buy it. That was so big. They were using it on YouTube, using it on Instagram. TikTok made me buy it. Right. So they were already planting the seeds to say that this is going to be an e-commerce behemoth. And then legislation starts to come across saying that, oh no, it's a security issue. We got to block it because they're changing elections, and nobody who's voting and cares about voting is going to TikTok for their news. They're going to TikTok to disconnect, to not be a part of society. Now, okay, I'm gonna say nobody. Yes, plenty of people hop on social media and do some, what is it called? You just want to confirm your bias, confirmation bias. You just get into your little bubble and you click on the stuff that you like, and the algorithm starts fine tuning things to feed you more and more of the rhetoric, more and more of the people speaking the way that you speak and believe about stuff. So just reinforcing your belief system. That's what an algorithm is programmed to do. Now, has anybody talked about TikTok affecting the recent election we just had? Like that didn't even come up. Like nowhere that I heard. It wasn't a big deal. Like, oh, TikTok is shaping the election, because TikTok is just focused on TikTok Shop more than anything. If you own a business attached to TikTok, the amount of aggression TikTok shows and trying to get you to sell on there, the amount of incentives they put into place, the amount of influencers and creators that are on TikTok that are trying to partner with companies to create this quid pro quo atmosphere of there's no barrier to entry, not a low barrier to entry, no barrier to entry. Basically, as long as your data checks out and as long as you are who you say you are, you're in a place where you can sell and you can collaborate. You can make a lot of money quickly because you can build attention without having status. And as much attention as they built, and then turn that into a shop, into an e-commerce platform that is eerily similar to what happens on Amazon, eerily similar to what happens on Facebook Marketplace, and not Marketplace, Facebook Shop, and how you do e-commerce on these different platforms. TikTok is not being banned because it's a national security threat. TikTok is being banned because they're about to take over the economy. Like, even look at CapCut, right? CapCut is a part of TikTok. If you edit online, if you use your phone to actually edit videos and you use something like iMovie, first off, that's like, to me, that's akin to using a VHS tape right now to still record your videos. Everybody uses CapCut because they gave you so many features at a low barrier entry, and put it in a way that was simple for everyone to use. So anyone could jump. My 9-year-old jumps on CapCut and starts editing things that wasn't even possible for me when I was studying video production in university 20 years ago. She can do it at 9 years old because of what CapCut made accessible for free. But I guess that's what is threatening the national security of the situation. I'm just interested in what other people think about this as well. Like, again, I have no, how do you say, stake. I have no. I'm not a dog in the fight. Like, I don't really. TikTok goes away for me personally. Cool. Then that means the attention that TikTok is sucking up has to go back to these other platforms, which we already exist on, which gives us a little bit more of a bite at the apple. So I'm not pining for TikTok. I'm not fighting for TikTok not to be banned. I just think it's hilarious that it has been talked about for how many years and hasn't happened. That it's happening right before Trump comes back into office. It's going to be a leverage play that he gets to use, because while the government might say it's a national security thing, and parents, that's a whole nother topic. But parents who don't know how to navigate and manage the amount of time their children spend on social media feel like TikTok is the one in control rather than them a lot of the times. And I sympathize with that 100%, because let's just keep it honest. We didn't grow up with this. If you're in my age demographic, I don't know, millennials, I don't even know I hate the labels, but if you're over 30, 35 years old, you didn't grow up with technology in your pocket as a child. And then you can't like go to your parents and say, how did you do this as a parent? Because they didn't grow up with it either. So you don't have any reference point to understand how these children grow up in the world today, where we exist physically, we exist mentally, we exist spiritually, but now we exist digitally. That's like a legit experience. And to deprive that from our children, or to say that they don't exist that way, is to deprive them. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's kind of like saying we don't do Christmas, which plenty of people don't do, right? But how does that child feel when they go to school and 28 out of 30 kids in the class talking about what you got for Christmas? And it's like, we don't do Christmas. So when you don't participate in that type of existence, then by natural selection, your child is alienated. They are in a different sphere, a different bubble. I'm not talking about if that's right or wrong. What I'm saying is most of y'all give y'all kids a phone. We give our kids phones for the security of, I want to be able to reach you. I want to be able to track you and find you. So now I put this in your hands, but now what's in it is working against me, and I don't know how to manage that. So do I demonize the child for their relationship with the device, for their digital existence, which they don't have the greatest mentoring or coaching from from their parents that are giving them access to this existence? There's so much to talk about here. I'm not going all day, but what I'm going to say is I'm really interested in the comments. What you guys think? Not that I don't want to get into a political debate like, oh, this is about national security and this is what we have to do as Americans, and China's trying to steal our information. What information? What are they trying to steal from TikTok? What is this? You can get the nuclear codes from TikTok? Like, I don't understand what the national security threat is. And if I'm ignorant, I need to be enlightened on that. Please jump in the comments and enlighten me on that, because it doesn't connect for me. But what does connect is the fact that they're saying you need to open it up for someone else to buy it and be able to control this, right? So what's next? Zuckerberg, Musk, something else they get to another feather they get to put in their cap. That, oh, I own this now, right? So who will we open this up for? Because it's not like the average Joe Schmo is going to be able to go buy TikTok. So the audacity to say like this thing is so big, China's not allowed to have it on their soil, but someone else can buy it and use it over here. You have to open it up for them. I gotta say, respect for China if they don't, the company that owns it, if they don't bow down and just sell it to someone else and give away what they built. I wouldn't do it. I would just take my losses and keep moving. Like, hey, you want this? Build it up yourself again, because we built this. It's not fair that we build something this big and then you put forth legislation and somebody just jumped in and said they want a monopoly of social media. 100%. Think about what TikTok did when you get short form content. Now you're on YouTube, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. They changed the game, but they changed it off American soil. America don't like that. Winners want to win. They want to stay on top. So I understand that part too. Man down. I'm good. I'm all right. But that's the real of it is winners want to win and they want to stay winning. So they're going to pull whatever they can do to win. And again, I don't have a fight in this. Like, I'm not arguing for ban OnlyFans. There you go. I don't even know where OnlyFans comes out of, but OnlyFans is making people a lot of money. You don't hear nobody talking about it being a national security threat, though. And there's people on there spending a lot of money, moving a lot of money. But I think it's US based, so it's not a problem, right? But I can guarantee you if OnlyFans was coming out of China, yeah, it would be right here with TikTok being banned, right? We can't have them controlling the money. I appreciate the comments. But yeah, this is just, I felt compelled to get on here and talk about this because all the news I'm hearing, all the posts I'm seeing, everybody that's giving feedback about this, like national security, or they're going to ban TikTok. And I hear people who actually make legitimate money on TikTok, people who actually have built their following and their social existence, their digital existence on TikTok. They got to be hurt, right? Because that's a real thing. Like, that's a real asset. If somebody just came to you, you bought a house, you live on a block. And then the government just came in and was like, hey, this block is a national security risk. Supreme Court has agreed this block must go. Figure it out. Reach your own street. Your house is gone. Like, nah, you can't be here no more because it's a national security threat. They didn't give you no more real reason behind it. You just lost your whole house. And for y'all to think that's an exaggerated analogy or metaphor, however you want to put it, let me put it to you like this. There's people making 6 figures a month. There's millionaires that are built on this. So if you just immediately take that revenue stream away from someone, how does that not equate to just taking somebody's house away? You're taking somebody's livelihood away. Seriously. The TikTok ban is hilarious, and they will all cry. Babies crying about it, right? It is to me. I think it's comical too that it is. Again, I'm not arguing against the TikTok ban, but I just want people to have a little bit more thought in their head. The process of the fact that this isn't about national security; it's about money. It's always about money at the end of the day, right? But I mean, if you had something that put six figures in your pocket monthly, you'd probably cry about it too. If the government was just like, "Nah, can't do that no more," right? They would just take it away. Go back to work. You don't get wealth going to work. You go to work for someone else. So you're just exchanging time for hours. And if you've ever created wealth via social media, you'll understand, bro, that's work. That's real work. Two, like the amount of time and energy, the planning, the science of getting an algorithm to work with you, not alone the psychology of people getting to work with you. I mean, y'all don't have to start talking bad about each other in the comments. Everybody's free to have their opinion on what's going on here. But social media is work. Getting behind the camera, exposing yourself to others, leveraging and building an audience so that you can leverage that in your favor and then turning that into cash, that's work. It's work akin to being an entrepreneur, if not straight up entrepreneurship, where you have to assume risk. If you just go work for someone else, you don't assume the same risk. You push the risk on someone else. As long as this company stays here, I'm straight. As long as I still have my job, I'm straight. They're gonna cut my checks. I'm gonna get a salary. It's, in entrepreneurship, we call it the salary trap, where um, yeah, I mean, you could care less about what anybody has to say about TikTok, but you on a video called "The Truth About the TikTok Ban," so it does kind of seem like you care. The last comment was just kind of weird. Um, but again, I don't have a dog in the fight. It's not something I'm advocating for or against, but because I'm trying to, I really just want to have the conversation, but I want people to actually think like this is about money. And if you do have a TikTok account that you built up, I do have some sympathy for you, some empathy for you for the fact that that's an asset. That's something if you built something and it generates you cash and then someone takes it away from you, you feel like you're being bamboozled, especially with no real reason, no justifiable reason for you as an individual. Like, I built this, I get paid from this, and y'all just gonna take it away from me. But this is a true lesson in your digital existence. The fact that you are online. I bought the domain a while ago called Own Your Algorithm, right? So there's algorithms inside of all these things. There's an algorithm right now. If you're watching this, the algorithm probably pushed this in front of you for you to get into this live conversation talking about TikTok. But there's an algorithm in Facebook. There's an algorithm in Instagram. It's part of the same, but there's an algorithm in TikTok. There's an algorithm in all of these social media platforms. They're trying to optimize different things. Now, you have an algorithm yourself, though. Pattern, system in which you do things. Like clicking the I don't like this button. You're not doing something negative or hurting somebody on there. You're just fine tuning your algorithm, right? And if you don't own your own algorithm, you don't control how you exist online, things like this can happen to you. If all of your following, now you can't always control where you grow. Again, there's a luck of the draw in a lot of this, but there's also the fact that you can do this strategically and you can do it differently on different platforms. TikTok just made it crazy accessible for a lot of people to actually do something that seems like, when you look at what Instagram and YouTube are, like the biggest creators and the people that are out here making a lot of money on those platforms, they're legitimate celebrities. They're legitimate people who have gone out and created a name for themselves and an existence for themselves where they recognize on the street, and it's like I don't even know that it almost seems like it's not attainable. It's not possible for the common person to do that. And TikTok made it possible for the common person to do that. And um, if you grew on TikTok, it may have been kind of that too good to be true scenario, and now they're ripping that truth from underneath you. But this goes back to the age old adage: don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? If you learned how to grow on TikTok, it might not work on another platform, and that part sucks. But I would take solace in the fact that you did learn how to grow on a platform in the new digital existence that we all have. So please, uh, go do that again somewhere else, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. If what you create content, there's several different platforms to create content on. On what I'm most interested to see is two things. One, how does Trump actually leverage this situation? Because look, if I'm the president, Supreme Court puts forth a TikTok ban, boom, then we come in and my first move is like, all right, guys, I'm gonna let y'all stay on TikTok. How many creators are super grateful that you let them keep that revenue stream for a couple more months or however long until y'all make some type of new deal? Now you become my president, even if I didn't rock with you before, because you directly affecting my money. See, I said it always comes back to the finance. You making it possible for me to still eat, because if you just come in and uphill what the Supreme Court says, boom, my revenue stream is cut instantly. But now I can come in and be your savior. I can put that money back in your pocket and get you paid. So that's part one. Part one, right? So I fully expect Trump to go ahead and extend this 90 days or give a little grace period, and then he's going to get into I'm making a deal, and then he's going to publicize it. So people talking about him, they talk about TikTok, they talking about China, they talking about all that stuff, and at the end of the day, he's holding the strings, pulling the strings, because he has the power to now to keep that money in your pocket or take it away. Now, say they take it away. So he's like, all right, cool. Can't do this. We can't say, if y'all remember, they did this with 5G. Think about it. Do y'all even remember when 5G wasn't a thing? But I remember it distinctly when they started coming out with 5G phones. They started coming out with 5G internet, and it was fake for the first time. And my first 5G phone in America, it had a little 5G signal on there, and the dude told me literally in the phone shop, it's not really 5G right now. We just put it on there because it's supposed to be capable, and we need, that's what we're trying to promote and advertise. But that's when legislation started to come across, because America needed to be first to 5G. It was an economical standpoint. It couldn't let China win that race. And that's ultimately what led to the ban against the company Huawei, who's making phones all over the world. Right? So, but now everybody has 5G, right? Nobody's tripping off of that. It wasn't about the fact that they had to be the only and it be a true monopoly, but it was, we got to be the first, right? TikTok did something way better than America, even when America was first, but TikTok just came and did it way better. And America's like, cool, we can switch this. Nobody said TikTok was made in America. Why would you say TikTok wasn't made in America? Social media is what we're talking about. Social media and the presence of just being online and using influence to generate revenue is the money conversation, not a social media conversation. So this is what led to a lot of the bans. We talk about 5G, right? But then say Trump comes in and he does uphold what the Supreme Court says, and they're like, cool, TikTok's banned. Where do all those people go from there? That's the most important thing to play on. That's what I'm trying to think of as being strategic in this moment. Because if you create something people rely on and you cut it off, there's a void. And then everyone is going to race, or that void is going to be filled by someone else. So who benefits? Ask yourself, who benefits the most from a TikTok ban? Get the whole national security crap out your head. Who benefits the most from a TikTok ban? Is it a new platform that comes up? I know they got the new one, Red Note, still from China. They're going to end up in the same situation, right? Or, but now Red Note has their legs cut from underneath them because it got the same stigma on it as made in China used to have, or still does have in the day. You see something made in China, instantly you haven't thought about that. Oh, this is probably cheap, or it's not up to date. It's not to the standard of what I would want it to be, right? But so Red Note is going to have to deal with that because of the fallout of what has happened with TikTok. But yeah, Meta's going to benefit off of this extremely. Like all as much momentum as YouTube and Meta suffered when TikTok came in and took so much attention. Now look at Snapchat, YouTube, Meta. They're going to be picking up the crumbs. Just like remember Vine? Remember when Vine got cut down or Vine wasn't a thing anymore? Where those people go? They jump straight into YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, into Instagram. That's when Instagram videos popped off. And that was into ultimately the demise of Vine. So where do those users go? Because where those users go, the money goes, right? You can make money on YouTube or just get a job. Why can't you do both? Right? Why getting a job is not the answer to getting money. Getting a job is the answer to paying bills. Those are different things. If you actually want to generate wealth and you want to get ahead, very, very seldomly will it come from a job for two reasons. One, you're trading time for money. Two, you are literally paying the highest form of tax that you can pay. Right? People, it's funny when I hear people arguing Amazon pays no tax. They pay all kind of taxes in different ways that you have no idea about. But the richest people in the world, they're not worried about you raising taxes on the rich. Not worried about the way taxes work because they don't take income. Income is some basic stuff that we learn in school. Go get a job and go let someone else pay for you and then pay the highest form of taxes you could pay ever on anything else. Right? So um it's funny, T Raw, you keep saying how it's pointless and you're spending your time on something that's pointless. So what does that say about your time? It's very weird. Uh, I mean, just that the conversation. I'm not throwing no shade at you, man, but you like your common theme in the comments is all this stuff is pointless for real. And it's like, well, then what's the point of you focused on it? You have a job and you run a food truck. That's what's up, man. That's respect right there. So you double dipping, right? With your food truck, you own that, right? The job kind of owns your time. That's the correlation of the two, right? But I'm at work, laying down right now, getting paid. It doesn't sound like you're working very well. So you said you're an electrician. Please don't do my electricity if you're just gonna lay down and argue with people about things that you think are pointless on social media during your working hours. But anyways, I'm uh then self-paid ain't it's entrepreneurship. That's the difference between work and self. You're saying you're self-paid, but that's cool. So should I post on TikTok, says Drew Hopper? That would be hilarious. Hold on. Now I'm getting chats from different directions. All right, cool. All right, I gotta go feed the babies. Just thought it was an interesting conversation. Ask yourself, where's the money going? Don't buy the hype about the fact that this is some national security threat. TikTok ain't controlling no elections. They don't have no nuclear codes. They're not doing anything that's really. I'm not gonna act like I know enough to know enough, but I'm just looking at the people who are on TikTok and what they're using it for. That's not what the I mean, TikTok ban ain't even coming. They said it's coming today on the 19th. Tomorrow's the 20th. Trump comes into office. I want to put my money on the fact. Nothing happens. They're just gonna say, "Oh, it's a delay," and it's just gonna be another news cycle, and we're just gonna be talking more and more about TikTok. So more and more people are gonna be checking it out or being scared about it and running to other places. So don't give my man a bad review. Let his food truck live, man. Come on now. Anyways, that's it for me. I hope y'all really jump into the chat and talk about this subject. It's about money. It's not about national security. Like, pay attention to what's really happening in front of you, and don't just believe what people tell you all the time, because it's not what the real is. Y'all be easy. I'm out.